is how we brew it.
This is how we brew it.
Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. I don't know how to rap.
This is how we brew it.
I don't know how to do that. We're making it up as we go, everyone.
Homebrew is where the heart is. It's where dungeon masters, murder hobos, dice goblins, and chaos gremlins come together to turn big ideas into unforgettable adventures. So how do you take that spark, a setting, a villain, a mechanic, and turn it into something that actually works at your table? It's simple. We brew it. We've got 6 flavorful categories to walk through designed to help you build campaigns that capture the feel of your favorite worlds and IPs. Today, we're doing Borderlands. Borderlands 4 just came out. Exciting about that. And we're going to go through the categories of B, base build, what are the core components, the must-haves, R, resonance and vibe. This is where we make my poetic heart sing. What's the tone, themes, and details that will help this feel right? E, extra froth. What makes this wildly fun? What's the spice or razzle dazzle? W, weird for us. That strange little twist you'd never find on D&D Beyond. I, the inciting quest. Every campaign needs a reason to leave home. And T, the threat level. Who or what is the big bad and what's their challenge rating? So Taylor, this is going to be fun because you've seen the movie and I've played the games. I haven't played Borderlands 4 yet, but it's not in my current budget. But I'm going to ask you, what is Borderlands 4 about? And what is Borderlands about? Just off the top of your head, I'm going to give a rating based on that.
Great. So number 1, it's about Kevin Hart. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
yeah, that's what it's about. At least that's what the movie tells you. But no, I think it's about a ragtag group of people in this semi-dystopian futuristic world. It's giving Mad Max in some ways. I mean, it's a video game, so I think you are just a random person who's like accomplishing tasks with a gun, and there's something about like this like special treasure or this special like weapon that ends up just being a girl with bunny ears, and I don't know if that's the game or the movie or both, but yup, that's all I got. Oh no, and you can have super special powers that turn you into a maybe Phoenix person. That was also a thing I picked up, and there's a funny robot.
Yeah, I'm asking for a summary now. From AI, and also I've looked at this, and like basically like you have this concept of Vault Hunter, who's like basically a dungeon delver slash like an adventurer slash a bounty hunter, you know, and they go on adventures into these vaults, and they get stuff and they do their thing. So like you're suffering, honestly. I mean, I never really watched the movie, but I would assume Kevin Hart being the number 1 feature makes a lot of sense. It didn't look like a very good movie, it didn't receive very good ratings, but the games are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So as we talk about base build, like the essentials, what I'll say from a game perspective is honestly the most important and interesting thing about Borderlands is not the story. It's like maybe the enemies, but it's 100% that you can customize in crazy ways all your guns. And that it was a great experience for me to play as a co-op game. Nowadays, in the modern era, like, can we both of us sit down in our apartment and play games sitting side by side? That's rare and hard to find. And that co-op part, like, loveliness is awesome. Like, that's a huge part of my college experience back in the day. Kind of shows how old I am. But it was a great time. And so customization of weaponry, specifically guns, and then the co-op experience, or like the essentials. How would we try to accomplish that within the context of D&D?
When it comes to weaponry, when it comes to things like, you know, swords or even guns, which are, I think, fairly new to D&D Beyond.
Yep.
But I don't know if customizing those things is actually super common. It's almost like bringing in the idea of crafting back into a game like D&D. Yep. I think it's like there were some versions of D&D where that was like more prominent. And I think in a lot of other RPGs, that's a thing that happens often. But, and you know, there's always things that popularize crafting like Minecraft.
Yep.
But Yeah, I think
you're telling me Minecraft popularized crafting.
right. Yeah, isn't that crazy? You would have thought of popularized mining first, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you mine, I get to mine. Mine time, mine
Yeah.
own crafting. It's my personal crafting. Anyway, bad.
That was the stretchiest one.
Just call me Elastigirl because that was a stretch.
There you go. That was great. But yeah, I think even in the essence of like Minecraft, like finding ways to like, oh, there are certain materials that you can find that can make your gun or your weapon in general better. Or like, how do we get to the things like Gert's great axe? Like, how do we get to things like the vicious dagger? How do we get to those weapons? How do we get? Because even the guns like that are in D&D Beyond now, we have like the revolver, and we have, I think there's a musket in there.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure there's a rifle somewhere. Like those things don't, it's at least right now, don't have like magic variants or like these like cooler versions. And so it's like, oh, all these other weapons do. How can we just like, as far as base builds go, how do we just like create a system of crafting that brings us from basic to magical, or basic to at least uncommon, you know?
Right. What I would definitely say is one of the strengths of Dungeons and Dragons, and the things that makes this naturally a good fit for Borderlands, is the fact that Borderlands is very funny, and it's over the top in its humor and its irreverent characters, right? So like if you're going to like, already when you play Dungeons and Dragons, most people end up embracing the silly side of things, where like in the D&D movie there's Jonathan and like all the silliness that ensues of that. So already we're kind of set up for that by just playing D&D. And we've also got cool magic items and weapons. Like that's like one of the most famous, best parts of it, where you have weird items that do random stuff, like a deck of many things that is just like, this is really cool and really weird. I would take inspiration from something like the deck of many things, or like the bag where you could pull stuff out of the bag with like random creatures emerge. And I'm forgetting what magic item that is off the top of my head.
The bag of holding?
No, like there's a specific bag where you can have like you pull animals out of the bag. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. What I would suggest actually is we do some form of categorizing all of these various effects and things that are happening within the D&D context. And then you just have a random number table, and like when you pick up stuff off the ground and you like have the ability to upgrade weaponry and stuff, like you just kind of randomize it, because this is how Borderlands work. Like random loot and guns just get randomly thrown your way, and you're always hunting for something cool, and you could break them down and customize them into something else. So that I would do. I would have it so that like, okay, you're going to give arbitrary values to like, let's just say like you use the gold values for various magic items, and you say, okay, like this costs this much random material, but you don't know if you're going to get it. It's going to be semi-random, and you kind of just randomly roll through that. I would want a randomization table. You roll through it, see what happens. That would be the number one thing I would do for that, because random generator tables will capture that weird random loot feel. It would encourage you to go out and loot a bunch of stuff, or find big treasure vaults where you get like 100 different options to roll through to see what you get. Stuff like that. I think that would make it a really successful sort of vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, like, as we're moving into resonance and vibe, I'm like, that's great. Like, I was like, I'm thinking about what it's like to play a video game, and I think in any of the examples we ever bring up on here, I think Borderlands is probably one of like the biggest like video games that like really it really centers like randomness over anything, not just in like the loot drops, but even just like the characters and the way like the interactions you have, and like the what's it called, the vaults that you have to go into and delve into. I feel like the vibe of this is random. Like it's just, that's what it is, you know? As a vibe, if anyone was gonna create this, you know, leaning into as much random table generation as possible, like not even just for the weapons or for like the loot, right? But like, cool, these maybe like if you create this, when you're turning this to a one shot, even your vaults are randomized, like all your dungeons are randomized, like, and even may your NPCs could be like, make everything as random as possible, because I think one, as like a GM or a DM, I think that'll make things just so much more fun for you, just to be like, oh my goodness, we don't know what's gonna happen today, and that's great, you know? not having played Borderlands as much as you have, or at all actually, I don't know how like quests work, but I'm assuming it's not as like a linear storyline as people might think it is. So,
There's a lot of ability to kind of explore the world for sure. And so one thing I would definitely say, right, is like you've done this before. We did a one shot where we were all magic students at a magic school, and one of our characters literally had a wand of randomness. It was called the Abraca-FU wand, and you would just say, "I cast a spell," and then you don't know what happens, and we would roll on the table just to see. Like I would have somebody roll a D10, and it was like, okay, there's 9 levels of spells. D10, 1 through 9, you get that level of spell. 10, you get to pick. And then, all right, we're gonna roll a random thing. And so sometimes like we're in this key moment and we're in the like a bank, right? And we're like, I want to withdraw some money, but I also want to make myself more charming. Abraca, right? And then they cast mass dominate person and just like controlled everybody and stole like $50 million worth of gold. And I was like, this is crazy, right? But the other thing I'll say is, because usually the wild magic table or just doing random stuff like that is hilarious. It's very fun, especially for a one shot. It's perfect. But I would also take inspiration from one pagers. If you're not familiar with the one pager concept, look it up. Look up my favorite one, Honey Heist. It's great. We can link it in the show notes. It's very silly. But basically, like, make it so that it's random how your characters are generated in the first place. Like, make it really random and lean into it. Make it so that you're like, okay, like, here's 5 archetypes. Are you the heroic guy? Are you emo? Are you angry? You know, like, and just roll. And then so it's like, okay, Taylor was planning to come in today playing a happy-go-lucky character, but instead he's the super emo character. And this is going to be great. And we'll just see what happens. Like, that's already going to lean into the randomness a lot. Okay, so we've got the base build. We've got the right vibes here. Let's do extra froth / like weird for us. What makes this like especially fun and or for us?
I'm curious what makes it fun for you, considering I haven't played the game.
Right. So I think the other thing that makes me think about this, and you'd want the right feel, is you'd want this to feel like a co-op game. And that's the hard part. D&D is already inherently like teamwork oriented. Right? But there's no mechanics that explicitly say stuff like, hey, if someone's already, besides maybe the sneak attack, like if someone's already engaged, the sneak attack is a big deal, right? There's not a lot of like teamwork things, you know, like Taylor attacked already, or Taylor cast this one spell and Kyle cast this other spell. And because they both cast these spells, something else happens. Like none of that is explicitly in there. Mm-hmm. So I would try and lean into that. The extra froth, weird for just for me thing I would promote is, as we've been sharing a little bit about, I've got a system called 0 Day that you can check out. And we have the entire system, a rule set in the entire system is just random character level ups, random character, random armor and loot drops, like all that sort of stuff is just already built into the system. But one of the things that we've shared about before is the experience streak caps, where if you roll successfully, you gain experience. And if your friends succeed, you also gain experience. And so you're trying to like continually one-up each other in successes, but help each other to do so. If you want to check out that system, it'll be in the show notes, and we would love for you to play test it out. It's totally free to play test it. But what I would take from that is I would boost the D&D ability to do a help action. Help actions are not used that often. If there's ways where we can boost the power of help actions by just like making the bonus bigger or giving them like double advantage or like changing the critical range so that you don't have to just get a 20, you get like an 18 through 20, like increasing that sort of thing, I think it'd be a big deal for helping it feel more cooperative inherently.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I don't think I would add anything much past that, except from my knowledge of the movie, The Little Robot Man, I think
famous character
that he's got to be everywhere. Like he's got to be in everything, in NPC. If you want him to be one of the players, like that's also great. That little guy's got to be in the one shot somewhere.
Yeah, that the little robot guy who's like semi annoying and like very funny and like is like R2D2 and C3PO combined, you know, is like a wonderful time. Yes.
Yeah.
I would personally hold that as in reserve for the Dungeon Master, just so they have the ability to be like, hey, guys, there's the thing you should maybe do, but also, can I get a strip of bacon that smells really good?
Hilarious.
It's both. Yeah. What is the inciting quest?
In this instance, I will say the movie did a pretty good job in that it was very clear exactly what they had to be doing, which was like, they all were on this quest to like find this mysterious loot that was like super cool and super special, and it ended up just being a girl. And that itself is really cool, because then it's like, now your quest is to help this girl.
Yep.
And like make sure she's okay. So I mean, by the looks of the game, but also by the way the movie was laid out, it very much seems like the inciting quest could be like a bunch of random like mercenary-esque type people who end up taking this job together. And then they find out that maybe the loot is a little more than just some treasure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a naturally good space where there's a bunch of vault hunters, mercenaries, trying to break into a vault for various reasons and find the treasure, which is a ripe place for an inciting quest. What I'm going to quickly mention also, if you do want to create a good co-op feeling, right, for these groups of people and have the vibes be good, if you've ever played the video game XCOM, when they upgraded the thing, when they have more aliens show up and they have these like zombies called the Lost, they'll show up. In XCOM, if you shoot a zombie in the head, it allows you to attack again. So something like that, right, is really cool. It feels like very like we're working together to take out all these enemies. So I would allow for like kill streaky type things that allow you to like, if you defeat an enemy, you can attack again. You can't use it to like run away. You can't use it to anything else. You have to use it to attack. But also make it so there's a lot of enemies and that they're weak, so that you can just kind of one-shot them. But it means there's a lot of them, so they're dangerous still. But there's like, all right, everyone's like, as opposed to, in a typical D&D combat, it's like one, or if you have two swords, but this time it'll be every turn, and it'll feel cool. Anyway, so you got the people in the vault. They're gonna go into a vault and they're gonna find their thing. Who is the big bad in this vault? This is all like a fortune hunter type of vibe in my mind, right? So it could just be a rival fortune hunter. It's also possible for you to just sort of have like the big challenge at the end is some sort of like ancient monstrosity thing locked in a vault, and you just unlock it, and then you like, hey, look, there's the big treasure, or there's the person who is the treasure, and they're about to get attacked by a giant thing, and then you just fight that. Like, kind of depends on what story you're trying to tell. I mean, if you're really into the lore of Borderlands, good for you, I guess. But for me, it's more like there was some really cool weapons we got to shoot people with with my friends in a funny, weird environment. So honestly, pick a weird, funny, interesting boss, and or randomly generate a really interesting boss with the boss generator, and like have everybody at the table like roll once and see the result, and you Mad Libs create it together in the moment, and the GM has to just describe it of like, okay, there's a boss and he is small and he has blue skin and he is breathing peanut butter. All right, here we go, boss fight,
Yeah, I think that's really cool, because D&D play that was in New York and is now touring, 20-Sided Tavern, they actually do that for their final boss as like a part of the show. They have everybody at the beginning of the show write adjectives, and 2 adjectives and a noun.
Yeah.
And then right before, they pull out 2 adjectives and a noun from like the bowls that they collected from everybody. And they'll be like, oh, the villain turns into, the big bad turns into a smelly, aloof penguin. And like, that's the villain. And then they like generate random stats based on that. They're like, we're just gonna create random stuff. Like, this makes sense. And it's always so fun and so funny. So I would say like a big bad being like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, 20-Sided Tavern is pretty great. This is a little different one from some of the other ones we've done, because it's so random, and we're, you and I are very like story oriented. So it's like, okay, like the randomness, we're leaning into it, where loots and upgrades and customizable weapons are all based off of like gold values of rarity costs, and you kind of just pay a bunch of gold to upgrade your weapon, and you just roll just to see what happens. And we would encourage you even to have like a wild magic gun that just like shoots wild magic things, or just like, we don't even know what it's just random, right? Lean into the randomness, lean into the co-op, so emphasize the help action and make it a big bonus for help, and like make sure most of the encounters and a lot of the enemies you can like one shot. There's a lot of them, so there's dangerous, but let players attack multiple times if they kill enemies, so that you can kind of like get this like wild firefight sort of feel, as opposed to the general feel of D&D, which is often a lot more smaller scale. We also said include a little robot companion who's humorous and a little bit irreverent, but also semi-helpful, and randomly generate the boss at the end, with each player rolling to generate a part of the boss, and just kind of come up with one on the spot. And as someone who's done this sort of thing before, I would make sure you kind of have like a basic structure of, hey, this is like the boss has this much health, they have this much AC, etc. And you kind of could come up with some basic tactics and attacks they can have, but you have some variance along the way. Or I would encourage you just to wing it, because combat in D&D is more fun if it feels like there's stakes. With all this randomness, how would you help to tell a good story, even with all the randomness involved?
I mean, like I said, with the movie, it was a comedy and it was kind of random in itself. I think the thing that mattered is that the loot that you end up going for is not a thing, but it's a person. And I think that's what makes the story good, is when we realize, you know, life isn't just about finding materials and getting treasure, but it's about, you know, the people that we journey alongside. So as fun, as crazy as it can be, I think it's really easy in random moments to find those meaningful conversations between your players or between an NPC. It always comes down to just like, what do your players care about, and how can you lean into that in the moments that actually matter? Comedy is always greatest in the face of people who care. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a good wrap for our video today. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe for more content like this.
This is how we brew it.
Jurassic Park, How to Train Your Dragon, The Princess Bride, Inception, Matrix, Mad Max, Fury Road, John Wick, Ghostbusters, Pokemon, Hunger Games, 28 Days Later.
Hey friends, also just want to shout out our patrons on Patreon, Matthew Matheny, who upgraded to the Covenant Cleric tier. Thanks so much, Matthew. And also our other Follow the Compass tier patrons, Fizz and Fedorable Will. Thanks, everybody. And if you join our Patreon, we would appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more content like this.
Welcome to the final countdown to ReachConf 2025. You better be grabbing your tickets as soon as possible. For the gamers, the video game building has over 10 TV and console combination stations with Smash tourneys. VR folks are going to have a Beat Saber tourney. There's going to be PC and game demos, arcade machines that are all free to play, a retro arcade, and an optional bring your own computer PC LAN for the PC folks. For the tabletop gamers, there's going to be a 50-person mega Dungeons & Dragons one-shot. Lots of tabletop space for all of the board games, and there's going to be room for the trading card gamers. If you want to bring your Magic cards, bring your Pokemon cards, battle it out, let's go. We're calling all the cosplayers in the group also. There's going to be a 360-degree photo shoot, a daily team shoot, and daily winners. And beyond that, there's going to be awesome game shows so the audience can be called in to win real prizes, content creator training events, industry talks, and more. So make sure you get your tickets to ReachConf 2025 today.